Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bailey from the EMH, and I'm back with another Elephant Money video. Unlearn what you have learned. We know what the price is at all times. What determines the when is adoption. Each one teach one. All right, so those are words from BT, Bank Teller, our founder today in the Telegram group, and sounded a little bit like Master Yoda. Right now, guys, we've all been seeing a lot of green lately in the elephant money system, right? If you know what I mean. But is he taking it a little too far here? We know what the price is at all times. All right, guys, I'm going to give you a little math, a tour, a little behind the scenes look of how this elephant money price is calculated and why the sky is the limit for this system and for the elephant token. All right, so check it out, guys. We have here our price chart, and this is our September performance. Very green. Yes, very green. All right, so I can see where he's got that Yoda vibe going on. But what he's saying, BT, is that the more and more people that participate in the system, naturally, the more and more volume that we'll have, and this economic activity is going to fuel long-term price appreciation, right? So the more people that hold the token, there's going to be more volume, more transactions, and with all the tokenomics of the system, and people participating in the products that are always going to be in demand at the Elephant Money decentralized community bank, we're going to be seeing just this massive price appreciation for one of the best store of value tokens that we've seen in the crypto space the last few years, right? So that's the Elephant token. All right, so he's saying, guys, that as long as we have people and we're going to be scaling that up, and each one teach one, so we get more people in, that there's just going to be more volume and it's going to be longer price appreciation. All right. Okay, so how does that work exactly? Well, guys, the Elephant token is only on PancakeSwap, so you will not see this token on centralized exchanges. So it is immune to order books. All right, and humans cannot price this token. All right, this price has to obey the mathematical formulas and rules that govern these liquidity pools. And what Elephant Money is doing, and it's much different than all the other projects and all of DeFi, is it's really leveraging this mathematical formula to create massive price appreciation for the token. All right. And basically, guys, as the treasury collects all the inflows and all the revenue from the Elephant Money decentralized community bank here, and it's building up its balance sheet, it's building up its treasury, and the price of this token is skyrocketing, it's really like a community bank. It's a financial collaborative where all of these funds are coming into that smart contract Bertha, and is able to unleash such economic power on these constant product formulas. It's the math behind the liquidity pools, whereas individuals alone wouldn't be able to have this kind of influence and drive on the equations, right? Because like other people would sell and dump and take the liquidity right away. Well, here, guys, in Elephant Money, the vast majority of the tokens are owned and locked in by the protocol and the protocol smart contracts, right? So it's really an exceptional system, and you can kind of see why its graph and chart looks the way it does compared to almost everything else in the space, right? It's really innovative what BT has set up here. All right, so guys, let's take a look. I'm just going to show you guys real quick some of the equations that you're going to be seeing kind of like behind the scenes, and this is why the price is appreciating and what it looks like. All right, so the first equations, guys, to take a look at, and I'm going to try to keep it like very tame as far as you don't have to be like a math superstar to kind of follow some of this stuff. But right here, guys, is our liquidity pools. And the big formula is called the constant product formula. All right. And that's the mathematical formula that governs or controls, the quantity of tokens in your liquidity pool. Okay, so each point along this curve is just a combination of, in this case, BNB and elephant token. And as you buy elephant token, all right, the combination is going to move this way. And when you sell elephant token, all right, the combination is going to move this way. All right, so BNB is entering the pool and exiting the pool. And so is the elephant token quantity changing as well, guys. All right. And so the way those formulas work is just you multiply the two assets together. It's X times Y equals K, all right? So X is one of the tokens, the quantity, 117,000 BNB. What the heck? All right, times 44 trillion elephant tokens left in our BNB liquidity pool. And guys, you get this huge monstrosity of a number that is K. It's just a constant, so it's a number that stays fixed. Okay, and as we move along this curve here, and as transactions occur, all right, this number is staying fixed, but these two numbers can fluctuate, and they always multiply to this number here. Okay, and here's our actual graph: X times Y equals that K number. Okay, now that controls the quantities of tokens. Okay, and then to get the price of the token, all right, it's a ratio or a comparison between the two assets in the liquidity pool. All right, so that just looks like this. Okay, so we have, guys, our location. So there's the quantity that's in the tokens right now. And for an asset that's not a stable coin like BNB, all right, you're going to get, or you're going to look at its USD equivalent or whatever currency that you're looking at. And what you can do is just divide. So you divide the BNB, or you can divide the dollar value of the BNB by the elephant tokens, price per token. Okay. And in elephant money, guys, because there's so many decimals, because there's 1,000 trillion tokens, 1 quadrillion, it's fixed supply. But we typically refer to it as like price per million elephant tokens right now, just because it's an easier number to kind of comprehend and work with on a daily basis. So you're going to see, guys, that I have my BNB times the going rate of BNB right now. Right, so that tells me how much like monetary value, USD value, is in the liquidity pool, and you divide that by the elephant tokens. Okay, so you're going to get this decimal. It's going to have like 6 zeros after the decimal place, and then you're going to start to see numbers like 5, 7. Okay, if we multiply that by a million, all right, so it's going to be 57 cents per million elephant token right now. Okay, so you just divide the two assets, and that's where you get your price. Okay, so if you're ever on like Dex Screener or something like that, all right, you're going to see that this is going to be the price where it's just the BNB divided by the elephant, and then this is where they also multiply by the USD value. Okay, so that's where that number comes from. Okay, so that's our huge BNB liquidity pool. All right, and then we also have our BUSD liquidity pool, and there's our current location. All right, and guys, that is the same exact formula there: X times Y equals K, and that goes for all of the liquidity pools that you see on PancakeSwap. And you're going to notice, guys, that we got $21.4 million in BUSD. So we're the number 5 holder of BUSD on the Binance Smart Chain currently. And then we also have, guys, about 37, 38 trillion elephant tokens left in this liquidity pool. Okay, so the supply is getting actually very low. Because if you take into consideration our graveyard and Bertha, and we have, it's fair to say, some diamond-handed folks, because the incentive to hold elephant token is so strong with the tokenomics that there's not much left to go around. So that's why this price is appreciating a lot as well. All right, so we've got K right here. All right, so we've got this huge constant again. So X times Y equals K. All right, and these are going to be all of our combinations of tokens as we buy and sell. They're all going to lie on this curve right here. Okay, so it has to be there. All right, on centralized exchanges, anything can happen, and anything does happen, right? But we're governed by these mathematical formulas. So pretty amazing stuff. All right, and guys, same deal. Okay, you just do price per elephant. So it's just how much BUSD is in there divided by the number of elephant tokens. Okay, and so we didn't have to incorporate that other multiplication in there because this is like a stable coin pool. Okay. And so for here, for price per million, so 56 cents, very close to 57 cents per million. So 56.8 cents per million, right? So that's how you're going to get the prices, guys. It's just a division problem, a ratio, okay? So those are the two kind of big kind of mathematical formulas there. So you got your constant product formula, and then this is kind of like the price oracle, or how it actually generates the price from the combination. Okay. All right. Now, guys, what we have done here, though, and so I have a couple videos showing you how you can take just this right here and actually create an equation that will show you the price of the tokens based upon the amount of capital in your liquidity pool. And that's where the term like parabolic comes from, this parabola. You can actually create a parabolic equation, and I'll link in the video if you want a longer kind of explanation on the math behind it, where you can see that. But so this right here, guys, is our price equations. So this is how the price relates to the volume, or sorry, the value in the liquidity pools. Okay, so the price of elephants is a parabolic equation. Okay, now how fast it goes up, all right, versus so like how steep versus how flat it is, all depends on, again, that each one teach one volume, right? So this is graphed out over time, but these are the prices that we are going to see in the elephant token. All right, so that's kind of how, like BT was saying, like we know the prices. It's just like how long is it going to take us to get there, and it's just a matter of the capital going in to the system. So it's just all matter of volume, right? So guys, so this is what the equations look like here. So BUSD, I can start off with that one first because it's a little more simple. Okay, and so we have our K still, so we're still using that K from the constant product formula, but it's going to look like this, guys. So the price is going to equal 1 million, because we're doing 1 million elephant tokens, price per million. And then you actually divide that by K, and then we multiply by X squared, all right? Or it's the amount of capital in the liquidity pool squared, okay? So that value times itself. All right, and that's where it gets the parabolic price appreciation, X squared, in algebra forms a parabola. Okay, so basically, guys, in this graph here, we can see the effect of, as more and more BUSD goes into the pool, what it does to the Y number, which is the price for the elephant token. Okay, and right now, guys, we have, let's see, okay, for or we got what? We got 21,413,823. Okay, BUSD in the pool. So if we look up here, guys, you know, you're gonna see that we have our 56.83. Okay, so that's the price of the elephant token in that pool. So in this equation, guys, all right, it's just going to show us what the price is based upon the monetary value that is in that liquidity pool. Okay, so pretty awesome, guys. And what's really neat, and I just want to show you guys this real quickly, is that here's our BNB, okay, price equation. And because this we have both of these on the same graph, and this is going to be USD value. So I just basically have to kind of convert the input, the X number, to be the BUSD equivalent value of the BNB. All right, so so both of these are looking at USD value in the liquidity pool. Okay, so guys, yeah, we still use that K. And this time, guys, it's just a tiny bit different. So we still have our million there for the million elephant tokens, and we still have our K, but we actually multiply right here by the price of BNB as well. Okay, and then we have our X squared, right? And I have a algebraic example and proof, and I can show you guys the work in that the other videos I have linked in the description if you're interested in that. All right. So it's pretty amazing stuff. But what I wanted to show you guys was, what happens to our price equation as the price of BNB changes, all right? Because that's one of our kind of variables at play. And one of the reasons that you might see actually some red in the BNB pool sometimes is that the quantities of our tokens don't change, but the price of BNB actually will drop a little bit, all right, or will raise up in the course of the day. And that can sometimes create a red candle because it drops your value of your elephant token. All right, but check, so take a look, guys. So right now we're at like 215. Now take a look, guys, at this red curve here, our red parabola, if we say increase the price of BNB. Okay, so let's check a look here. All right, starts to flatten out. Okay. And what that means, guys, is like, say if we're up to like $350, okay, for BNB. Whoa, all right. So what happens, guys, is this curve does not increase as quickly. Okay, we actually need much more capital to have it grow price-wise. Okay, and basically it's because it's harder to pull out the BNB tokens from the liquidity pool, right? Because it takes just more capital, it takes more fiat to purchase a BNB to then put into the pool and take out elephants. So it's, you need a lot more USD value when BNB is expensive. So right now, because BNB is just so depressed in price, it's actually a lot quicker for us to go into supply shock and to increase our value. So if we take a look, guys, if our curve is speeding up when we're at 215. All right, I think I'll throw that 3 pennies on there for that price point. Okay, so the fact that we're able to get BNB cheap, it means that we can purchase more BNB with our fiat money, which means that we can take more BNB out of that liquidity pool more easily, and then that skyrockets the price. Okay, and some people are like, hey man, like what happens if BNB just completely gets destroyed, right? Like goes to zero or whatever. And what's interesting, guys, is like as the price of BNB gets lesser and lesser, it's a temporary hit on your value, because the value drops. But once the value drops, we call it in elephant money loading the spring, which means that your ratio or your price per BNB actually gets a lot stronger, and the price can actually bounce back. It's like Wolverine, right? He gets cut and then he just instantly heals back up. So take a look at this, guys. So like as the price of BNB goes down, look at this like red curve. It's like it just actually speeds up and it gets quicker. Okay. And right here, around if the price of BNB dropped to like 157, it looks like we would have like the same price velocity or acceleration as we do and as we see with the BUSD pool. All right, so that's why with Elephant token, you've seen that BNB can just be down on the day and Elephant's still green. It's like, what the heck, right? Yeah, Elephant will drop when BNB drops, but then our price curve actually accelerates, the rate of change speeds up, and we just like bounce right back and then just keep going. It's pretty insane. So the other day I said like BT had like checkmated BNB. It's like BNB cannot win against us. It's just no matter what happens, you know, we're always going to outperform it. It's pretty insane. All right, so guys, that is those price equations. Okay, so pretty cool. And another thing that's really just neat before we move on is that um, these slopes here, as you move, actually get steeper and steeper. Okay, and we're going to see that more in depth. I created new graphs, all right, for all of my math geeks out there today. But you're going to see, guys, that as we move in elephant money, we actually need less and less capital to get the same amount of price appreciation. All right, so the price of this token is going to be like just speeding up, and it's going to be easier to actually gain price as we go. We'll actually need less volume. That's how crazy it is, because under normal circumstances, which is human participants, people would be selling this token much more than it is. Bertha's really protecting and raising the price, and all of our liquidity strategies raise the price so that, you know, we're able to bully these mathematical formulas like no other protocol can, right? It's really awesome. All right, guys, this is a crazy one. Okay, so so I took these equations right here, these price equations, and a lot of people are like, hey, when are we going to 10x? You know, when are we going to, you know, double in price? Or, you know, like how much, like how many cents are we going to be gaining like every day? And you know, so a lot of people have been asking about, you know, trying to figure out like how much we need, how much capital we need. So what I actually did, guys, was I created another equation where I just took this equation here and I solved it for X, right? Which means I got X alone, isolated, and that gives me an equation where it's like the capital equals, and then it's going to be where we can input the price that we want to see. Okay. And yeah, so like when I used to teach math, this is called like an inverse equation, where it's like you you know, you solve for one, you switch the variables, and then you like solve for it again. And like kids are like, hey, where the heck am I ever going to use this? Right. Right now I have an answer. I'd be like, YouTube videos, dude. Like, of course, right? So yeah, so guys, this is what I'm talking about. So what I was able to do was this bad boy right here. All right. So debuting capital equation. What the heck is this thing? Okay. And so guys, on this equation here, we're actually going to be able to just say, hey, show me a price of 60 cents per million. And this is going to show you how much capital we actually need in the liquidity pool. All right. So it's going to be pretty cool. So it's basically just kind of the opposite, or the inverse of what we see here. Okay. So we're going to actually have the price per elephant on the x-axis. All right, and we're going to be able to put in the price that we desire as our input, and this USD value is going to be on the y-axis. It's going to tell us how much USD value we need in the liquidity pools. All right, so this is what those equations look like, guys. So I'll start off again with the BUSD one, because it's a little easier to take a look at. And all right, so we're still going to use our K. So we got our X times Y equals K, and a square root equation this time. Okay, because what happens, guys, is when we take a look at this equation here, I basically have to get rid of this one here. I got to get rid of this big fraction. Okay, so I end up multiplying the price by what's called the reciprocal of this fraction. You gotta just flip it over. And then to get rid of this squared, you actually do the inverse operation, which is square root, right? So pretty wacky stuff. So we create the square root function, guys. And what this shows us is that if we do the price times K, and then we divide by 1,000,000 because we're still doing that 1,000,000 elephant token thing. And then we take the square root of all that. It's going to tell us the amount of capital that we need. Okay, so what's interesting, guys, is like, all right, so say if X equals, I want to know how much capital needs to be in the liquidity pool for, say, 60 cents per million. All right, so I can do 0.60. Okay, and all right, that's going to tell me right here, guys. All right, so for our BUSD liquidity pool, all right, we would need $22 million sitting in there to get to 60 cents per million. Okay, and for our BUSD, our BNB liquidity pool, we would need $25.7 million in there. Okay, and so if we go over here right now, so we're at like 25 million. Okay, so if we add a couple more million, we're going to get up to that 60 cent per million mark. All right, and so we've been trucking along pretty good. So that, probably with our average volume, it's going to take, another like 3 or 4 days to hit that like 60 cent per million mark. So pretty interesting. All right. But that's how that equation works, guys. So what I'm going to hook you up with here, and let's see, is a little spreadsheet that's going to allow you to just actually type in the value that you want, and it will tell you how much capital we'll need and how much additional capital we'll need, given the amount that's already in the liquidity pool right now. So I know a lot of people like to kind of try to like get a forecast of what's going to happen and everything. And we know the price, right? Because it's all dictated by these formulas. Okay. One little bullish thing before we go on. All right, so, and this is the one that's in the for the BNB liquidity pool. But check this out, guys. Like if you look at these equations, right? So say if let's see, like let's take a look at this right here. Now, guys, so this is, say if we just go real simplistic and we just look at like boxes on the graph, right? You're gonna notice something that's like pretty crazy, right? So say if I'm right here at this amount of capital and this price, okay, for elephant token. So this is sort of right where we're at right now. All right, we're a little bit beyond this. Okay, but if I move my arrow or my cursor here up one box, right? So that's one set of, or one amount of capital. And now I'm going to move over to see how much price we gain. And we gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes of price. Okay. So we went up one box of capital and we gained 5 boxes of price. Okay, so that's called like slope, if you remember, back from high school. All right, now if we do that again, check this out. I move up one box again, that same amount of capital, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 boxes of price. Okay, so the same amount of capital got us 5 boxes of price, and then the same amount of capital again after that got us 6 boxes of price appreciation. Oh boy. All right, let's try that again. Up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 boxes now of price appreciation. Okay, so what's going to be happening, guys, is in these formulas here, we're going to be able to pick up more and more price appreciation per same amount of capital. So it's going to be easier to skyrocket the price because we're going to be supply shocked. All right, we're going to be picking up just insane amount of price appreciation on these tokens. Okay, so the speed at which we're picking up price, like it's we're going to need less and less volume, and still the momentum is going to be there. All right, it's going to be pretty insane, guys. And you know, just to go back to our original formula, which was the constant product formula. All right, what you can kind of see is going to happen, guys, is as we move and we buy elephant tokens. Okay, notice how there's more like BNB going into liquidity pool. Okay, so the value of the liquidity pool gets larger and larger. Okay, so we're going to have more value in there. So the elephant tokens are more expensive, but at the same time, when we divide to get the price, we're also dividing by a shrinking number of elephant tokens. So we got both parts of the fraction are like pulling away in the favor of price appreciation. Like the top, the numerator is getting larger with value, and then we're dividing by a smaller and smaller value, which actually increases, all right, your overall price even more. So bam, that's the supply shock, you know, the supply and demand, the tokenomics, boom, as SK would say, the shockonomics. It's just going to be ridiculous. Okay, it's absolutely going to be ridiculous. All right, so guys, here's a little. All right, guys, so here's our elephant money capital calculator, and what we can do on this Google spreadsheet is we can actually just put in the price that we want to reach, and it's going to tell us how much capital is going to be needed, and then how much additional capital is going to be needed from where we're at currently in the liquidity pool. All right, if you ever want to interact with the sheet on your own, you just go to it, you do file and make a copy, and then it will save your own copy of this, and then you can interact with it, put in the values you want to see and whatnot. All right. The only things you would need to update on a regular basis would be the price of BNB, right? Because that can fluctuate. And then currently where we're at in the liquidity pools, right? So you put your elephant tokens and your BNB and your elephant tokens and your BUSD from those two LPs. All right. And so where you would get that, guys, is anywhere from like Dex Tools, Dex Screener. You know, I usually just go to one of those sites and then I copy and paste the information right there. Okay. And then I just kind of come over and I kind of pop it in. Okay. All right. So guys, here's how this would work, right? So what I have loaded in here are my crazy little square root equations that I saw that you saw on the graph. All right. And what basically we would do is we would put in the price we wanted to see, and it would tell us how much capital needs to be sitting in that liquidity pool to generate that price for the elephant tokens. Okay. Now, right now, guys, we're at like, say, 57 cents per million elephant token. And we can go out to, say, any future value we want, and it's going to tell us how much additional capital we would need to reach that particular price. So say if, right, we want to say, I don't know, like 60 cents. Okay, so we're getting towards that all-time high there. All right, and in this liquidity pool, right, it's going to tell us to hit 60 cents per million that we would need 25.744, all right, and that's going to be $1 million sitting in that liquidity pool. All right, and so to get there from here, we would need another $643,000. All right, so probably will take us maybe a couple days, right, 2-3 days, depending on volume and buys and sells and whatnot, to arrive at that price. Okay, and then you can also type in more prices here if you'd like, and then it will show you kind of like the progression of how much you would need. So for instance, we can take a look at that concept, guys, that I showed you on the graph, where we would get more and more price appreciation for like the same amount of capital. Or you can see here is if we type in, you know, consecutive cents here, going up by pennies per million, All right, we're gonna notice, guys, that it actually takes less capital for every single cent. Okay, so we're gonna get to a point where, we're actually gonna start flying through these prices because of the less capital. And then, as we start to get more wide scale attention and adoption, and more people are interacting, you're going to notice, guys, that the volume is just going to push us like way past like a lot of these prices, which is going to be really cool. But so you can kind of see it right here, guys. So to get from 60 to 61 cents required 213,000. And then from the next penny, all right, 211,000. And then to get to the next one, 210,000, 208,000. So every single time we move up in our price per million, it just takes less and less capital to reach that. All right. So the velocity of this price appreciation with the price per million elephant tokens is actually going to get quicker and quicker. All right. Which is pretty cool given constant volume. All right. And then if our volume increases, that's where you're really going to see that crazy, crazy price appreciation, like vertical green candles, kind of like Yoda's lightsaber. I think Yoda's lightsaber is green too. Is it? Ah, geez, the green sheets, it's everything. Just everyone's seeing green in elephant money. It's nuts. All right. So guys, yeah, so you can see the progression, and then say if you were like, I want to type in something and see what's going on here. So like how much let's kill a zero, right? So like let's get to like $1 in this liquidity pool. All right, so you can just put $1 in there, price per million, and it's going to show you guys that we would need a little over $33 million in BUSD value, all right, or BNB value there. So to get to $1 per million in that liquidity pool, we need a little more than 8 million bucks to go in. Okay. And who knows, that could be, that could take a while, or, with, again, that's that whole idea of the each one teach one. If a lot of people are contributing to this, or, if you catch the eye of, some major players, all right, some ETH whales or BTC whales wake up and want to diversify a little bit into an extremely powerful up and coming token, we could get there sooner. All right, so pretty wild stuff on the horizon. All right, let's see. So we're at 57 cents per million. All right, give me the 10x, right? So I want to be $5.70 per million in this liquidity pool. All right, so 570, and it's going to tell you guys that we would need sitting in that liquidity pool a little over $79 million of BUSD. And so that would be an additional $54 million. Okay, so to get that 10x, all right, we would roughly need to a little more than double the amount of capital that's already existing in there. All right, so 54 million it seems like a lot, but once you're a major player and on the radar, it's actually a drop in the bucket. If you look at all like the total value locked on some of these huge like lending platforms and everything, like it's it could get real quickly, guys. So this is a little toy that you can play around with, guys, and it works the same with if you want to figure out the BUSD LP as well. All right, you can do that same exact thing. So like say $1 here. Okay, and we would need a shade under 7 million in that pool to get to that $1 per elephant token in that one. All right, so guys, this is all this stuff is it's going to be accessible in the video description, but it's really exciting to kind of see see the protocol kind of like tape form, tape shape, all of the math and everything that we've been kind of learning about through all the tokenomics and everything. You kind of see it like playing out now as we're kind of picking up steam, and there's been more demand, and our awesome product launch with the NFTs, which are going to be an absolute steal. And futures is rocking and rolling. So we kind of see this huge kind of snowball economic engine coming to life here. And it's powered by these mathematical formulas: X times Y equals K. This is the way, guys. All right. So centralized exchanges, nah, you know, we're making pretty good progress sticking to that constant product formula, and just the crazy amount of contracts, and how BT has kind of crafted this all to just really rely upon sound economic and business principles, and kind of wrapped it together into this kind of perfect little protocol here. So super excited, guys. And just stay tuned. We will be delivering the FOMO on a regular basis, because what is not to be excited about here in Elephant Money? All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. Give me a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you on the next video. This is Bailey from the EMH. I'm out.